I am checking the comment section. Shalom, everybody. Greetings, everyone. It is a Sovereign Sunday, and we are live. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. That would be good. You can probably hear me in the background too. I don't know. You know how that goes. We know how that goes. What about how I look? How I look? Shalom, shalom. So I want to welcome everyone into the space, the Sovereign Sundays space. I want to greet you all, those of you who are on Instagram, those of you who are on those of you who are on Instagram, those of you who are on YouTube and you are joining me. I am happy that you are able to join me. I When you are in the space, just greet everyone else. Thank you, Deidre Sully. Welcome. Deidre Sully, MPH. I forget. Greetings, Hand of God 242. Haven't seen you in a long time. I'm joking. And the live, I haven't gone live on Instagram for a little while. So, that's how it goes. We're moving over, right? We're kind of moving things over to YouTube predominantly. But I thought it would be good to just check in with my Instagram family just to touch base. Sometimes, yes, keeping up with social media is a bit much. But and if you can hear me in the background, well, you know how it goes. Greetings. Yes, shalom. I am visible and audible. Thank you very much. So, today's topic, I am not really going to teach much or, do that little lecture thing that I do sometimes. Oh my goodness. But I really just wanted to touch base, and just have a conversation around the journey that we are having, each of us through fasting. And, not just for Anu, like this is a conversation for everyone and anyone who is currently working through a fast at this moment. And I say that because, someone asked me something the other night and I said, this is the heightened energy around this time can't be denied because of the fact that it's a collective spiritual ritual. This is like, this is a global event that's happening. And so even if we do think, okay, yes, we're having our own individual experiences, maybe epiphanies, also it's important to understand that there we are connecting with others across the globe who are probably having experiences of their own. Um, and quiet experiences, not so much the cathartic, absolutely um wild experiences that everyone can see or that's visual. It's the quiet moments, right? It's those quiet moments when um, we're talking to the Most High, or it's those quiet moments when we're in conversation with just another person, another family member, another person in our community, and we come to realizations. Or it just probably happens when she says when you're hangry. It probably just happens when you're going through the motion during the day, and you're thinking about how thirsty you are, and you absentmindedly decide, okay, I'm going to just pick up a bottle of water and drink without thinking. And that has not happened to me, but I'm bringing it up because so often we find ourselves in positions where um we find ourselves in positions where you know we just 1 second, please. We find ourselves in positions where, sorry, I had to take off my alarm again. Yeah, where we work without thinking, right? We don't think. And sometimes thought is the, not sometimes, we learn that thought is the fastest thing in the universe. So, you know, I think I think about the times when you do reach for that water, you do reach for something without thinking about it. I wonder if it's in our if it's been placed in our spirit, right? If we have aligned really with the objectives and the purpose and the functioning of what it is to fast, right? And what this particular fast means to us. And if it has not gotten to the deep parts and the core of who you are just yet, and you find yourself probably absent-mindedly reaching for things rather than absent-mindedly restricting, then maybe it isn't there yet, right? Maybe it hasn't become a norm or something that you've placed inside of your spirit and, decided that this is how I'm going to function. This is how I'm going to work this, right? I have a few shares. So you see me going from left to right, right? I kind of like having two screens. Um, Deidre Sully says, yes, hangry experiences, meditative, calming as well. Right. So you're speaking of not just the thirst experience, but the hangry, because I guess that's the hungry and angry combined. But even then I question whether we've placed it deep inside of our spirit. And I say that because if we are going through those moments of having emotional experiences, right? Lack of food affecting us emotionally, that's a trigger point, right? And that's means for us to explore why, right? That's important for us to explore why. And I probably have spoken to this a little bit before, but yeah, I'm going to talk about it again because, it's healing and it's an experience for me too. It's an opportunity for me to share as well. So, not only do you all get to share with each other, but I get to share with you. And so that's a beautiful exchange. Brother Hand of God 242 says, tasting food while cooking caught me. Ah, you know, this is the thing. I have to food prep for others too. And so I had to say to myself, well, I know my measurements, my eyeball measurements, and they will have to work, and they will have to work. But I see you because it has become such um, a consistent thing that is ingrained in us how we function. You cook in, naturally, you taste food, understood. But sometimes you do have to ask yourself, when you're beginning to prep food, are you beginning with that process where maybe you say an adura, or you offer up something so that you remain cognizant of what we're doing or what you're doing at the moment. I stopped food prepping during the day, actually, Brother Hand of God 242, because, and if you want me to call you by your full name, let me know. Just put it in the chat. I just, I'm reading names based off of the I always say muñeco based off of the profile names. But yeah, I stopped doing food prep during the day because I realized that it wouldn't throw me off. I wouldn't desire to, but I just felt like, okay, well, maybe I don't need to food prep at all because, for one, I am attempting. Please do. I know it's about. No, no, no. No, I will. I'll keep using it. Yeah, I paused for a while, but then I said no. It actually it takes away from the schedule that I've created, right? So I actually was trying to work around it by instead waiting until the evening time to prep, which is quite time consuming, but not so much too, though, because I'm saying two things, right? But not so much because I'm embarking on, along with a couple other sisters, what is considered like a fruit meal, right? And I've been trying. I have not been able to do the mono meal so much, but fruit. So it requires less preparation, um, but it does require some preparation. And the tasting, it becomes an issue only if, like you're cooking a lot and so on. But since this will be, just chopped up fruit and so on, it is easier for me to, like literally chop up fruit and or make a fruit bowl or fruit smoothie without having to taste anything. So it depends on what you're making. Pardon. Um, but Hand of God 242 also said was absent minded and I couldn't stop myself fast enough. But hey, I'm sure you're forgiven. I'm sure you're forgiven. As long as you don't make it a habit. Because if it's a habit, then excuses, right? The just study says autopilot is a beast. Yeah, the beast is the subconscious mind. Blame it. It is so accustomed. It's the subconscious mind. That's what's going on. It's the battle between the conscious and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is autopilot. It really is. She's Deidre Sully says it's being like a zombie. Yes, it's like being a zombie. I have to be really present when I'm fasting. Yes, and you hit the nail on the head when you identify being present, right? Being in the now is so important because everything that you do, you are literally thinking through it. And again, if thought is faster than anything and is the fastest thing, then it means it doesn't take too much time for us to filter, not filter, but to think several times before we do something. And so I think sometimes that is the maybe the sin or the beast, as Deidre call it, of the subconscious mind, because it allows us to pre-program ourselves to do so many things, and it works to our advantage for many things. But when it comes to, again, the situation that we're caught in when we're fasting, it really requires us to think, um, and be very, very cognizant and very present in the moment. So that way you're not food prepping as well as reading a book and listening to a lecture, and probably trying to create something else in the background. So you you know the fake multitasking that we say we do. I think if we are fully present in the food prep during our fasting moments, then it does not become so easy for the subconscious mind to kick in to just the regular mundane, let's follow the process, let's just do it based on the pattern. It becomes very difficult. So it is, I think, part of the support system is in being very present, literally in everything, every spoonful, every time we mix, every time we transfer, every time we cover the pot, every time we decrease the fire. Very important. And if you're not cooking, but you're just food prepping because you're doing predominantly raw, the same goes for that type of food prep, especially if you're prepping during the day, during the daylight hours, because you're not fasting. Greetings, Herbal Bushels, please. Greetings. Thank you for joining us. DJ Mumbles, greetings, and thank you for joining us on our Instagram profile, on our Instagram live. Let's see who's still with us. Deidre Sully. All right. Peace. Greetings, Sister Kashia. I am so sorry. I did not greet you. How are you? What's going on? I forgot all about you. I do apologize. I do apologize. So yeah, I was actually thinking about the fact that we're moving into the second strong of our fasting, right? All of those who are fasting, not just unknown people, everyone who's in fasting mode right now. Um, and I kept thinking about the second, because it is the second strong. At least we're closing the second strong and we're moving into the third strong. And because we're closing the second strong, I couldn't help but to think of the second strong through the lens of wisdom, because I kept thinking about the fact that wisdom is wise words to the wise person, or spoken by a wise person. And wisdom is represented by the woman, right? And wisdom is also, connected to um, Well, at least when I think about the date when we'll be actually hitting the second strong, I think about truth as well coming forward, and I also think about refinement. And so I think a little bit of what we just spoke on, the idea of functioning not from the subconscious place but the conscious mind and being constantly present. I think there is wisdom in that, right? And there's wisdom in that because there's processing of the knowledge of how our brain functions and how our body functions, and understanding that we always have to put mechanisms in place to keep ourselves obedient and within and on a square, so to speak, and within the parameters of how we ought to function. The subconscious mind is neutral, though. It only offers up what we program into it through our most consistent thoughts and actions. Exactly. It is neutral. This is true. However, because it, and I think that's where the knowledge, and I'm not um cutting what you're saying, but then because we know that this is how the subconscious mind works, then it really requires us to be completely present when we are doing something like food prepping, let's say. And maybe we want to think about, maybe if we're taking a walk, because okay, so I'll share this. Yesterday yesterday is Sabbath, and I walked, but there was a moment when you have to pause and you have to ask yourself, okay, so is this borderline? Is this exercise? No, or is this exerting yourself, or is it am I leisurely walking, just enjoying my experience and sharing time with other family members, right, or members of my community. So I again, the subconscious mind, very powerful, very neutral, powerful point that you make. But because we know that, wisdom, because this is our second strong, right? So I'm a draw on wisdom. Wisdom tells us that we're going to take that knowledge and apply it, and that application means everything that I do. And I think that's why that fasting time is a full month, because it allows for us to tie ourselves to being present at every step of the way and everything that we do. And sometimes I watch myself, and I'm sure you can say the same for yourself, Brother Hand of God 242, and Sister Deidre and Kashia. I'm sure you can say the same for yourself, even Herbal Bush House. In order to actually overcome the programming and that processing um, that the subconscious mind does naturally. It's like it's involuntary. It just kicks in. That conscious part of ourselves has to be there consistently. It's almost like a reprogramming has to happen. And that reprogramming is through repetition. And that repetition actually replaces the old programming. And there's wisdom in that. There's wisdom in that as well. Um, I wanted to know though, if for those of you who are present and can share, I wanted to know if there were any moments of particular revelations or wisdom that came to you, during this fasting period for the first two strands. If there is anything that came up for you. I have something that I want to share, but put it in the chat. And if you are not fasting, that's fine. Share your thoughts. Share if anything has come to you during this moment, this week or 2 week period of fasting. And I'm asking because even if you're not fasting, I still say that everyone who is in proximity to those who are in fasting mode can be affected, because again, the I don't even know how many hundreds of thousands of people are going through this collective spiritual process right now, right? So it means that there's a buzz or a hum of energy. I like to think about energy like a capacitor almost, right? So it kind of it holds energy. For those who know, it reminds me of a jed, or something that looks like a transformer for energy or power. Greetings, precious Stephanie. How are you? How are you? Greetings. Welcome to our Sovereign Sundays. Deidre Sully says, yes, this is why I get hangry. The current programming is fighting to stick around. Oh, the programming of being hangry. When you're triggered, your hunger is triggered, anger is what sets in. So you're dealing with something that's considered feeling, because it seems as if it's been there for a while. And it's persistent. It's not something that is necessarily transient, right? It's not necessarily transient. So then, how do you, or what do you do when you identify this hanger? When this hanger shows up, what do you do? Greetings, True Health Live. Greetings, True Health Live. Yeah, tell me, what do you do? I can't say that I get hangry, but I do have moments where my physical body actually goes through moments of feeling hungry. And in those times, I actually, I think I shared before, I find an adura, I find a prayer, or I open a book and read something. I'll find myself reading from scripture. I'm actually looking at one of the books that I'm reading from. I will actually review some of my old training, some of the notes that I've written down from some of the old modules, and even some books that I enjoyed reading, like Complementarity is a book that I really enjoyed by Baruti. So I'll just go back over and review some of those notes whenever that hunger kind of catches on. And that, again, that's physical, because the mind doesn't feel hungry, but the body does what it does. Herbal Bushel says, energy continually flows through me because I choose to always be in the now. This is true. This is true. And so, would you say, Herbal Bush House, that allows for you to control that flow of energy, or to be able to shift or divert your flow of energy to specific experiences or specific things? And I ask direct, meaning directly connected to those who may feel hungry during fasting and things of that nature, when we have to abstain from consuming. We have to stay away from consuming foods or consuming anything. Does that being present allow you to control the flow of energy? Deidre says, sorry, three things. Um, okay, one of two things: sleep or work. Sleep is tricky. I have an argument about the sleep, because I think you're copping out when you go to sleep. How about that? I'm going to be very opinionated this round. I'm going to say it, yeah. I think it's a couple when you go to sleep. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think it's a couple to you say to yourself, yeah, I'm fasting, I'm gonna just rest. Because um how about facing it? Because I think, let's go back to Hand of God 242's point on the subconscious mind, right? I really am, and I'm going to reread it because it's really powerful, talking about how the subconscious mind is really neutral, and it's really based on programming, right? It just functions that primarily off of programming based on what we do consistently. So if you consistently identify with, okay, I get hungry during fasting, I'm going to sleep, then I actually question your ability to be able to move through that feeling of hunger at some point, right? I question your ability, because, and I'm not saying that you're not capable, but I think if consistently you decide to sleep through it, then maybe you have to ask yourself, what if you don't sleep through it one day? What will happen? Would you succumb to that feeling or that desire? Would you succumb to that feeling or desire of hunger? Um, I'm gonna I'm going to read the rest. She says three things. So she says sleep or work or create. So today I recorded two podcast episodes and also made all of my bath and beauty products, body polish, and body butter. Very good. That's what I'm saying. So instead of sleeping, you take that energy and reroute it, right? So that's good. Take that energy and reroute it. Put it into creating, put it into doing, put it into my. I hope I get some of that body butter, by the way. All right. Yes. You're supposed to be sharing too. So don't just make it for yourself now. Share it. Greetings. Greetings. I am NB21. NB Nigel Byam. Peace, peace, peace. Greetings. Welcome to the Sovereign Sunday Experience. Please, we're talking about, for those who are just joining, the journey through fasting. For those of us who are observing the fasting period right now, it is Ramadan. But if you are not, that's okay. You can just join in on the conversation. I know many of us are wellness and health conscious beings in this space. So, any and all of your wealth of knowledge and your experience is welcomed. We're all juicers here, and I'm sure we've all fasted in one way or the other. So please, I welcome in all of that. Yes, Hand of God says yes, donating body butter for zakat. Exactly. Exactly. You get my drift. That's exactly what it is. Um, Deidre Sully also says she's about to make a face mask as well. Yes, I think everybody in here should be receiving some sort of face mask or body butter, right? She should be sharing. Respect Chief Yuya. Greetings and welcome to our Sovereign Sundays. Thank you for being in the space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're just talking about our journey through fasting. Herbal Bush House says, yes, because when you become hungry, ask, what is my body asking for? Right, that's a great question. We look at lack of nutrients as cravings. Once I give the body what it needs, cravings don't exist. Nice. This is true. This is true. This is true. It goes beyond just okay, I'm hungry. It really does go beyond just the idea of being hungry. It really speaks to what you're speaking about, really speaks to, as you said, that lack of nutrients. And so your body is communicating with you, right? There's an exchange, there's a conversation, there's correspondence happening. And so when you do have that hungry feeling, it is your body communicating that there is a lack. And sometimes one of the easiest things that you can do for cravings, and so it's important to actually think about the cravings that you have. If the cravings are sweet cravings, or if you're craving for salty things, those all have very varying indications as to what nutrients you could be missing. Well, when we are actually ready to break fast, then that conversation becomes very important, because now you have to say to yourself, if you're breaking fast, are you breaking fast with specific foods that will help to nourish? I know sometimes I've heard one or two people say, you know what, I don't feel hungry afterward. And so they find themselves consuming much smaller amounts, which is fine. But I think during this period, in order to, it's really important to not just focus on food and think about how much you're going to eat, but to make sure that you completely nourish your body, right? That you replenish, and that you drink as much as you need to, so that you're not thirsty, and the body can function and work properly. One or two people have spoken to me about fogginess and brain fog, and that's going back to Herbal Bush House's point of hunger and the lack of nutrients. If you're finding that there's hunger, and then it means there's a lack of nutrients, and you have to think about, well, what is it that you can consume that will help or aid with brain fog? And sometimes it's the body flushing the system. So you're foggy because maybe it's not just so much what you're eating, but it is a form of detox. Because when we do fast during this period, it is considered an intermittent fast, right? So there's all of that that comes along with it. Um, Ema Precious, did I greet you? Greetings and welcome. Um, so we're if you all want to share, I know one of the things that I asked. Let me scroll because I think I'm missing some things. Okay. Yes. Greetings, Alchemist 893. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. How long have you been in on the live? Because I think I missed a few people. I'm just scrolling and I realized that I missed a couple people. So if I missed you, if I missed giving you a little hail up, please don't worry about it. I'll get back to it. Um I think I'm gonna close, but before I close, I just again wanted to offer this. This is our second time moving, or second strong, sorry, moving into fasting period. And if there's anything that you want to share or add, please put it in the chat quickly. Get those speed thumb warriors. Drop your message in the chat really quickly before we close today. But yes, just I wanted us to think about the fact that this is our second week, and when we look at the lens of two, we're looking at wisdom, and so we're building from knowledge to wisdom, and we're going to get to that um, third week of understanding. And so maybe and this is just through again my opinion of how I'm analyzing how I'm moving through each strong of the fast, and how I am thinking about you know how I'm taking whatever knowledge that has been given to me during that first strong and utilizing it and applying it so that way I can build and build and build toward understanding. Deidre Sully says, looking forward to moving into understanding for the third strong of Ramadan. Thank you. Thank you. So I before I close out, I wanted to share that our podcast we will be adding some new content to our podcast. The podcast is called the Sovereign Eats Podcast. I have one or two guests that will be on pretty soon, and one of the topics that we will be exploring is type 2 diabetes. And I felt that was appropriate because I have one or two people who reached out to me. You all do reach out to me through DM asking about, just particular issues. And so it's good to be able to collaborate with another person, another woman who is looking at, just supporting other women and their families through health and wellness. But her focus, of course, is type 2 diabetes, and she also had her own struggles and challenges with that. So she'll be bringing a wealth of wisdom and understanding to that health challenge for those of you who are interested. So again, it will not be a live, but it will be a podcast discussion. And of course, we will include all of her information and details so that you can experience the collaboration both from the audio and you can read about it. And of course, all of the blogs includes a different additional information for your support. If there's nothing else, I will bid you all a good evening. Kol Tov, with meaning be well in Hebrew, and for those of you who I will see later, um, enjoy your couple of minutes break. And for those of you who are joining us on Tuesday and Thursday for our midday motivation, please, we normally go live between 12 and 12:30. So, and I kind of like to give that space and that time for us to move, because sometimes I like to walk to the park to get myself settled. And as I said to you all the last time, I walked to the park and there was, like a whole cleaning crew happening. There were weed eaters everywhere. It was crazy. And it was also funny. I was laughing at myself the entire time. So I will see you all on Tuesday. Peace and power. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Um, be well, stay strong, and stand and walk in your power. And don't forget to give your praise always. Do not forget in everything that you do, in every single thing that you do, just stop and give honor and praise to the Most High. Peace, everyone.